Mastering SOC 2 for Nonprofits. SOC 2 compliance is the key to unlocking stakeholders' trust in our nonprofit's operational excellence. When seeking to demonstrate operational excellence, what is the primary purpose of achieving SOC 2 compliance for our nonprofit organization? And how will its successful implementation ultimately benefit us in terms of enhanced trust, transparency, and accountability with our stakeholders, donors, and constituents? Achieving SOC 2 compliance is a critical milestone for nonprofit organizations seeking to demonstrate operational excellence. The primary purpose of SOC 2 compliance is to provide assurance that an organization's systems and data are secure, available, and confidential, thereby protecting the sensitive information of stakeholders, donors, and constituents. For nonprofits, achieving SOC 2 compliance sends a strong message to stakeholders that the organization is committed to maintaining the highest standards of transparency, accountability, and trust. By implementing SOC 2, nonprofits can benefit in numerous ways. Firstly, it enhances trust among stakeholders by providing an independent, third-party validation of the organization's internal controls and security measures. This trust is critical for nonprofits as it directly impacts their ability to attract and retain donors, volunteers, and employees. When stakeholders perceive a nonprofit as trustworthy, they are more likely to support the organization's mission and goals. Secondly, SOC 2 compliance promotes transparency within the organization. The certification process involves a thorough examination of an organization's systems, policies, and procedures, highlighting areas of strength and weakness. This transparency enables nonprofits to identify and address vulnerabilities, thereby improving their overall operational efficiency and effectiveness. By providing stakeholders with detailed information about their internal controls and security measures, nonprofits can demonstrate a commitment to openness and accountability. Thirdly, SOC 2 compliance fosters a culture of accountability within the organization. The certification process requires nonprofits to establish clear roles and responsibilities, define policies and procedures, and implement ongoing monitoring and assessment activities. This focus on accountability encourages employees to take ownership of their actions and decisions, promoting a culture of responsibility and diligence. By holding themselves accountable, nonprofits can ensure that they are using resources efficiently and effectively, maximizing their impact on the community they serve. In addition, SOC 2 compliance can benefit nonprofits in several practical ways. For instance, many donors and grant-making organizations require or prefer to work with organizations that have achieved SOC 2 compliance. By obtaining this certification, nonprofits can gain a competitive advantage when seeking funding or partnerships. Moreover, SOC 2 compliance can reduce the risk of cyber attacks and data breaches, which can be devastating to nonprofits with limited resources. By protecting sensitive information and systems, nonprofits can avoid the financial and reputational consequences of a security incident. Lastly, SOC 2 compliance can have a positive impact on a nonprofit's reputation and branding. By demonstrating a commitment to operational excellence, nonprofits can enhance their reputation among stakeholders, volunteers, and the broader community. This in turn can lead to increased visibility, credibility, and influence, ultimately supporting the organization's mission and goals. In conclusion, achieving SOC 2 compliance is a critical step for nonprofits seeking to demonstrate operational excellence. By implementing SOC 2, nonprofits can enhance trust, transparency, and accountability with their stakeholders, donors, and constituents, ultimately benefiting from increased credibility, reputation, and influence. By prioritizing operational excellence, nonprofits can maximize their impact, achieve their mission, and make a lasting difference in the lives of those they serve. SOC 2 compliance. It's a tall order, especially for nonprofits. I recall a conversation I had with a fellow executive at a conference a few years ago. He was struggling to make sense of the entire process, frustrated by the sheer complexity of it all. I could sense his anxiety, his sense of overwhelm. I've been there too. You see, When I think about operational excellence, I think about the why behind it. For nonprofits, it's not just about checking a box, it's about demonstrating a commitment to stewardship, to integrity, to transparency. And that's where SOC 2 compliance comes in. At its core, SOC 2 is about trust. It's about proving to your stakeholders, donors, and constituents that you're worthy of their trust, that you're a responsible steward of the resources they've entrusted to you. And let's be honest, trust is hard-won. It takes time, effort, and a willingness to put in the hard work. So, what's the primary purpose of achieving SOC 2 compliance for a nonprofit organization? It's quite simple, really. It's about demonstrating a commitment to excellence, to accountability, and to transparency. It's about showing the world that you're serious about protecting sensitive data, about maintaining confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, I know what you're thinking. SOC 2 is just a bunch of rules and regulations. But it's more than that. It's about creating a culture of operational excellence, one that permeates every aspect of your organization. It's about having the right people, processes, and systems in place to ensure that you're mitigating risk, managing vulnerabilities, and continually improving. I recall a conversation I had with a nonprofit executive who had just gone through the SOC 2 compliance process. She told me that it was tough, that it forced her organization to confront some hard truths about their operations. But in the end, she said, it was liberating. It gave them a sense of confidence, of credibility, that they never had before. And that's the key. SOC 2 compliance isn't just about achieving a certification, it's about what that certification represents. It represents a commitment to excellence, to doing things the right way, even when no one's watching. It represents a willingness to be transparent, to be accountable, and to continually improve. So, how will successful implementation of SOC 2 compliance benefit your nonprofit organization? Well, for starters, it will enhance trust with your stakeholders, donors, and constituents. It will demonstrate that you're serious about protecting sensitive data, about maintaining confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And that, my friends, is priceless. But it's not just about trust. SOC 2 compliance will also give you a competitive advantage. In a crowded nonprofit landscape, it's a way to differentiate yourself, to stand out from the pack. It's a way to show the world that you're committed to excellence, to doing things the right way. And finally, SOC 2 compliance will give you peace of mind. It's a way to sleep at night, knowing that you've done everything in your power to protect sensitive data, to maintain confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, what are the actionable steps you can take to achieve SOC 2 compliance? First, educate yourself. Learn about the SOC 2 framework, the requirements, and the process. Second, assemble a team of internal stakeholders, including IT, finance, and operations. Third, conduct a readiness assessment to identify gaps and vulnerabilities. Fourth, develop a remediation plan to address those gaps and vulnerabilities. And finally, work with an auditor to achieve certification. It's not easy. I won't sugarcoat it. But the payoff is worth it. SOC 2 compliance is about demonstrating a commitment to operational excellence, to trust, transparency, and accountability. It's about creating a culture of excellence that permeates every aspect of your organization. And that, my friends, is the ultimate prize.